My head has been swirling with all sorts of thoughts and ideas on this. I'm not sure if it'll come out clearly, so just if you don't get anything worth listening to, pray about it and ask the Lord to reveal something to you. But so we have this story of this woman who comes and anoints Jesus' feet, washes them with her tears and dries them with her hair. And Simon, the Pharisee, looks at this and says, "This isn't right. This isn't right." Jesus, knowing what's going on in his heart, speaks to him. Two people were in debt to a certain creditor. Now, the word debt is the same word in Hebrew as sin, which is why sometimes you may have heard, like Our Father translated, "Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgive us our trespasses, our sins." That's why Jesus uses so often these images of debt and money in terms of forgiveness and sin, because in Hebrew it would have been the same word. And so he's looking and saying, two people were in debt to a certain creditor. One owed 500 days' wages and the other owed 50. I did out the math, so that's about the difference between over 2.5 years worth of wages versus about 2 months worth of wages. So it's a lot. It's a lot of a difference. Which of them will love him more? They both got forgiven their debt. And Simon, like a good theologian, doesn't want to put too much weight. Well, what if I'm wrong? Okay, well, the one, I suppose, whose larger debt was forgiven. I can almost see Jesus going like, "Really? You can't put your whole self into this?" You judged rightly. Okay. But he talks about how the one who's been forgiven much loves much. The problem I find in my own life is that very often we don't want to look at our sins. I don't want to look at my sins, at least not for what they are. A lot of times the words come up with, "It's not that bad," or "They're worse people," or they're things to justify my sin. And so if I were in this parable today, I might think, well, I owe him 5 days worth of wages. And Jesus is saying, if only you knew how much of a debt you really owe me. And those times, and I can understand why people don't like to look at their sins, because those times that we do and we see what they very often we don't see them in the light of Christ. We see them with the voice of the accuser. And what does the accuser say? Not that you did something wrong. The accuser says there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. And when we see the depths of our sins, instead of seeing God's mercy or his greatness or I did something wrong, we see there's something wrong with me. At least that's how very often it falls into my heart, which is why I keep preaching so often about the incredible, overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, right? To recognize who we are and whose we are. Because when we see the truth of our sins, it could beat us down if we didn't realize how loved we are, how God is so eager, not just willing, but eager to forgive us. And he doesn't excuse our sin. He doesn't say, well, it's not that bad, or, I look at all the reasons why you did this, and, okay, I understand. He looks at our sins, sees them for the truth of the evil that they are, and he says, I forgive you. I forgive you your whole debt. Because I love you. You're mine. You're my daughter. You're my son. If we want to learn to love God more, I think we need to take a good look inside of ourselves and say, okay, the sins that I know about, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat them, but I'm going to see them as they are and see how much God has forgiven. That it's not that they're that bad. No, they are that bad. God still loves me. He still chooses me. He still wants me. And when we see in that how loved we are, how much we are forgiven, then we won't be able to help but loving God much.